Good morning. Good morning. So I get to go first, and I'm very sorry to all of you for that. Thank you. Just wondering about that. So here's some of my partners up here. So my name is Charles Delp. I work in the Office of Student Life, and we have some faculty help as well.
I'm Luis Sierra. I run the Global Initiatives Office, and I'm also Assistant Professor of History.
Kim Haverkoss, Education Department, and the Dean of the College of Education and Health Sciences.
And not seen with us are Spille, who works in Student Life, and Kate Sharon from Philosophy. So this was our Engage More Diversity, Equity, and Inclusive Excellence Learning series that we worked on this past year, which was a pretty good start. And so we had a couple of goals with this. So we feel that in student life, we need to have an outlet for these kind of things to be readily and easily discussed, so that when an incident happens, whether that be something at Thomas More or in our nation or in the world, we are readily equipped to deal with that, and students know they can trust us. We deal with these issues. There's an atmosphere here where we can talk about those kinds of things. And the second goal was, and Kate Sharon wanted me to hit this point very hard, was that while we start off with one theme, this would be a series that can include a broad spectrum of things. So it could be culture, class, gender, socioeconomic, any number of things. So we were kind of trying to start at that point. And you can see our poster here on the right. And so when we met as a committee with this group of people and faculty, we thought, what should this look like? So obviously from the title, you can tell it was based on diversity, equity, inclusion. But at Thomas More, what does that look like and what does that need to be? So we came up with 3 specific things that we thought would be really very important to hit. And the first was kind of a thematic start to the year, a big programmatic push, something that all students can see, something like an annual keynote where they know, okay, Thomas More is committed to this, we have a big start, we care about this issue. But at the same time, you can't just do lip service to an idea like this. There has to be some deeper work that's done. There have to be multiple parts to it. So the second part is either a monthly or a bi-monthly kind of workshop series that will go along with it. 2 or 3 in the fall, 2 or 3 in the spring. So that can include things like guest lecturers, maybe a hosted facilitated discussion, maybe a debate at certain times if that's appropriate, going off campus to a community event, things like that. And then the third piece is an annual survey. I would say that part is definitely still in development. Lots of things to consider as you think about what a good survey should really look like. So we actually hosted this. We had our first keynote in April of 2019. We selected Okello. So for those who are not familiar with For College for Life, it is an organization, actually Kevin Reynolds here at Thomas More is a part of it. They are a higher ed specific group of individuals who go across campuses and speak. And we picked this organization because we felt we wanted someone who has a higher ed specific lens. So versus kind of contacting someone at random and hoping they have a good perspective on what we might do, we wanted this specific lens for us. And the goal of the initial keynote for us this time around was that we introduced this topic broadly. You know, you can't necessarily start hitting at the deepest issues campuses facing. You have to, kind of start and get students, faculty, and staff used to this idea, build some buy-in, build some trust so that people keep coming. And we actually did survey this as well. If anybody wants to see the full kind of list of survey results, I'm happy to share that with you. But there were kind of 2 categories that I would view. Lots of positive results. People liked Okello as a speaker, everything from he told good stories, he related to us, he wasn't offensive in the way that he did this, he connected with the audience, those kinds of things, and to his delivery. So the suggestions piece, I didn't list all the comments, but we have lots of different comments that related to this piece. So I'm not going to read it to you, but really the heart of it was people want multiple issues, kind of to Kate Sharon's point. They want this to be beyond racial and ethnic diversity. They want it to include gender, class, sexual orientation, all of those kinds of things were hit multiple times in the survey responses, which would be something that the committee would have to consider. And true to our word, we have already set the fall dates for the workshops. We're doing 2 this fall in October and in November. We picked kind of a later start, hoping that students would kind of have time to get used to campus, specifically the first-year students, have time to build up this rapport with our office so that they would be welcomed at this when October rolls around. And that is the end of our portion. Do you guys want anything?
Yes.